Welcome back, everyone. Okay, so I've done what I've said I'd do in the last video. I've basically taken all the parts, cleaned them up, worked down the edges where the molds came together to a point where I can actually fit everything together as a kit. So I want to show you guys what to glue together and then how it fits together. Okay, so the first two parts you have is your base or your belly. It consists of these two parts. Okay, and the rear has got these two round sections where the engine is joined onto. In the front I've got these this round part at the front where the head goes onto. You see all these parts have these big gaps to lower weight, and that's where the armor plating goes in. Okay, so once you've actually cleaned up these tabs, you see that this slips into each other very easily. Okay, and this has to sit flush on top for it to actually work properly. Okay, you see there are small little grooves on each side, and that serves as a guide. Okay, as well as these where your screws go into to hold the top sections on. Okay, this bit can be glued together if you want to. So if you want to transport it around but you don't mind carrying something this size, then glue it together, fill up the gap with filler. I'm going to leave mine separate. Okay, the line is quite noticeable, but I think with the pods on you won't see it that much. Okay, you see how these gaps are for lighting, for the red light to go into these areas. I think they go in these areas, I'm not too sure, but it makes the most sense to me for it to be there. Okay, so on the head, all the head and the jaw have got these bits. Okay, so once you sanded them down, you see the nose section, it'll fit in flush. Okay, you can leave it off to the end, and the jaw section has this part on it. There's a bunch of little holes. You see that you get a picture with it that shows you where they go, and some wire, so you can put all the antenna in. It'll look a lot better. Okay, so on this part, as you can see, I've cleaned up these gaps that I mentioned before. It leaves quite a thick piece of resin on the bottom, but you can sand it down if you want for weight, but it's not really necessary. Okay, then you see that this bit should sit flush. Okay, so you can glue this on and then fill up the gap. I'm going to glue this bit on. Okay, and you see at the bottom you're going to have a big open area. Okay, so how the jaw works then is I'm going to show you now with this piece separate, but imagine this is actually part of it. So this here actually goes in underneath the lip and sits flush against this section above the windows. Okay, like such. Okay, and the way you put the head on is, you see it has a lip on the bottom over here. Okay, well, my camera froze for a second. Okay, so like I was saying, so you see the lip on the edge of this, and on this head section there's a little notch. So what happens is this slides in, and then when you clear the notch it actually goes down, and that's when the head section will come down into this gap, and it cannot go further because this will stop on the inside of the head on this section over here. Okay, and that'll be basically the level area where it should be. Okay, so once you've done this, and you do not need to glue it in. So this has a hook on the bottom, and what I'm going to do is just take this piece off. You see this hook actually hooks into the inside, and then this piece goes over the top, which is this piece over here. You can see the area over here, so that fits into that area. Okay, you can put a screw in the top, or if you like you can put two screws in. Okay, and then these two open areas on the back over here is these parts. Okay, just slip in. They can be glued in if you want as well. Okay, how it actually fits in I won't actually know until I do it myself. If it's going to be a problem or not to go in, but I don't see it being an issue. Okay, so it's pretty simple. It goes in, that screws on top. Okay, you might need to work this hook slightly just to get it to sit flush on the bottom, but it sits pretty flush. Okay, So let me get rid of the head over here, head and jaw. So let me get to the top. So with this on, okay, so you got your three sections. Okay, you got your front top or spine, and it slips into the little holes. And you got your rear spine, and that slips into the holes as well. And you see it's got notches to line up, and then these tabs go underneath each other. The rear one goes underneath. Okay, and then as this sits over here, let me go to the camera shot. Like that. Okay, so this bit goes into this groove, and this notch goes over the rear end. And then you have your areas here where your arms go in. Okay, so I would recommend, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it 100%, but with this on top, you might have a little bit of a gap at the back. Let me turn this. You might have a gap over here if this isn't level. Okay, so what I'm going to do, my plan is to first drill these two holes, so straight through the V section. Okay, and then drill it first with a smaller drill. So use a 2mm, and then possibly try with a 2mm or use a 2.8, and then you'll get the tap with it. So you screw it through, and then put this on, so you know this is lined up. Okay, and then the same with this piece. Once that's done and these are screwed flat, then screw the central one in, but not into the body, just onto each other. So screw them, drill the holes, unscrew these, and then screw these two in. Then you have one piece for this. Once everything's together and you put these back, then come with this piece, and then you drill your two holes for the front section and your two holes for the rear section. Okay, so the spine, everything will be one piece. It'll be pretty solid. Okay, as for the arms, they're going pretty simply. You do not need to glue them in. They basically, there's a hole, there's a notch, and there's a notch. Okay, so it goes in, and that sits, it will not fall out because of the angle. Okay, so you can actually take your pods off very easily and put them back. Okay, this is a very nice idea for lighting, or if you want to transport. Okay, so there you got your main section. Okay, so once you've actually done this section, then you need to do the back. And in the back of here, you'll see with my pointing device, you see this goes in behind. Okay, so once this is down, then you're gonna have to close the gap. You're gonna have to forcefully squeeze this together till the whole part bends slightly. Then drill two guide holes. Okay, and then tap, and then make the rear ones bigger. So you do not need to tap through both. Same with these. The top hole can be bigger. The taps needs to be in the bottom section. Okay, then you're gonna have this flush. Okay, with this flush, then it's easier to do your back section. So now I'm going to do the back section separately. Okay, it consists of a number of parts. So I'm going to try and see if I can get the camera in here space wise. Let me just put some things away. Okay, so your rear section has a lower part, which is this, and you have your side sections, which are these, and your engines. Okay, so this is the top section. Okay, so you'll see with the notches in the front section, it goes into the bottom of the sport, and it actually can stay there. Okay, so then my plan, I'm hoping it works. I'll obviously come back at a later stage once I've done it, maybe in the next few days. is to have it as a separate part altogether. So the idea here is your side sections. Let me get the right one. Okay, you see they actually conform. Take this apart. So this way around. Is the right one? No. This is your rear section. Okay, so once that's screwed in, you'll see that this part conforms to the shape at the back. Now this gap might need to be filled up. It all depends on if you glue it on or not. And this part goes in here. So logically they fit over into each other. Okay, and you see there's a hole here for a screw. So your rear engine, your rear right hand engine, being this one, fits into this gap. Okay, so the idea is that you screw through here into the engine and then you tap the engine side. So this sits on permanently. Okay, the rear nozzle you do not need to glue in because the screw together bit actually holds it in place. Where is it? Rear engine is right one, this one. So with that in and with that screwed in, this actually sits very tight. Okay, probably even comes out when it's in. So you can leave it loose for lighting as well. Okay. And then this piece goes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this onto this and then glue the other one onto the side. There's a notch. So you actually have a one piece. Okay, and you'll see that the top one, which goes into this area, slots in. Okay, now this piece has a gap for 2 screws. So once you actually fit it all together, then screw through it, put it out, tap the bottom two. You see there are notches. Okay, so then you'll see that your rear section, which is this one, the round bits on top, has a notch as well. And the idea is that the screw goes through the top, through this, and then you tap this one. So that's one piece. Okay, and you see that the that actually sits basically underneath in that area. And then you have your place for your top engines. Okay, so your top engines go in, slots in. Let me get the right one. So your left top engine slots in, goes down. There's a hole as well. Okay, and you can basically put a screw right through there into this bit. Okay, so when this is in, that's the other one. Okay, you see it actually notches into these gaps, these little ribs, and it comes together at the front. So once you're confident that you have this correct as one piece, then you can drill right through. It'll come through the bottom of this over there. Okay, and it'll hold all 3 together. And once again, your engines do not need to be glued on because they will be held on by the right one, by the screws that are holding the rest together. So, that away. So the engine this. The engine actually holds it on. or the screw holds this piece on, it goes very tight. Okay, so that's screwed together, that's screwed onto the middle, and then the engine screwed onto this bit, and the bottom bit glued on. You're going to have a complete square, which then slots into this section. So you got the engine that goes in, okay, and then you screw in. So the whole lot gets held together by 2 screws. I'd say right now I wouldn't recommend picking it up on the rear lower engines. It might come loose, I do not know until I've done it. You might be able to put more screws in. I didn't do that because it's going to affect your geometry, or your geometry, but your detail at the bottom. Okay, but you can do it if you want to. And then what else? Your pods, the last piece. Move this out the way. So your pods, once again, you've got screws on them. You've got notches, 3 notches. Let me find the right one. So this is, and everything is marked. Okay, so this is left front. And you see on your pods, the front ones are shorter than the rear ones. So this is a front one. You can see it is because of the large area where the Galactica is written. And then you got your rear one, which is longer. Okay, and they work in so they slot into each other. Okay, and then screw and tap. Okay, you might need to glue it together because it's not actually going to stick on this side. It might work with the screw, I do not know. But do not glue it together till you do lighting if you want to. Okay, so basically this slides in and clips on. So it actually is held slightly, if that's the right one. Okay, and you see there's a drill and there is a notch over there, so you go right through into the that's why I thicken this area over here, so you got meat to grab onto. So then you have a permanent fixture where it stays in. Okay, and then together it will be very strong with the section that goes into the body. And your interior of this, you need to sand it down quite a bit. I'm working on possibly having a file that you can print out with photographic paper you can stick on top. My intention was to actually have this so you can paint the Galactica sign, but it's not very clear. Okay, and I'm not happy with the way it looks. So I think it might be better to actually have the have a sticker, not a sticker but a printout. So you can put your printout on, it'll look nice. Sand is down around the edges. Okay, and then it basically slots in and it goes in one way. Okay, these notches are made to go around the areas where the tap goes in, like such. Okay, so pretty simple. And then you've got a gap underneath to add lighting. That's the intention over here as well. If you want to add lighting to the launch bays, you have to just drill a hole through it. It'll come out on the side. I designed it for lighting in the launch bays, but you need to drill a hole very carefully. Try not to destroy the little edges. I'm not sure what size screw, maybe a 1.2 mil, 1.6 mil, I'm not sure. If you want lighting, I don't know if it's wanted or not, but the option is there. And I think that's it. The clear parts for the engine nozzles fit in very, very snugly, so you do not even need to glue them in. Just clear out if there's any bubbles on the inside. Do not push it in all the way, because if you need to push it out again, they're sharp. The little nozzle is sharp, so you can make a hole in your finger. Okay, painful. So once it's in, it's in. So just be aware of that. Okay, so paint everything and then put your clear part in. Okay, I think that's it. What else? I spent now basically a day, 2 days, sanding down on and off. So it doesn't take that long to sand everything down. Everything fits together pretty well. There will be light gaps like all resin models have. And then one other thing on the resin model, especially this one, is just make sure you clean everything before you put paint on, because all these parts will need mold release, because it's very, very delicate and it might break the mold. Okay, so yeah, so that's it for now. The next one I will show this main part screw together, and then from there I'll do painting. So great, thanks a lot, cheers.